Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a guide for Burgundy for EU4 1.31 Leviathan. Before we begin, consider leaving a like and subscribing since only 12% of you are subscribed, and you can become a member today. So Burgundy is a nation in Western Europe that's sandwiched between France and the HRE, a precarious position, especially for newer players, which might deter them from playing Burgundy. Paired with the fact that we have the Burgundian succession possibly happening and lots of people not being familiar with it, it might present a challenge to newer players. But by using this guide, you will have a great campaign. So let's take a look at what Burgundy is about. So as we know, Burgundy starts off with 4 subjects, our vassal Nevers, and our 3 junior partners Flanders, Brabant, and Holland. But we are going to be getting one more subject almost right away, and you will see why. But first, we're going to go into our estates and summon the Diet. And you can pick whichever agenda is best for you. We're going to give the Clergy Clerical Advisory Council, we're going to give the Nobility increased levies and aristocratic councillors, and we're going to give the Bourgeoisie Patronage of the Arts, Commercial Advisory Board, and Indebted to the Bourgeoisie. Now it's time for alliances. And the first nation we do want to ally is Austria, and they will be available, I would say 90% of the time. So I am going to send them an alliance offer, but we also need to ally 2 more nations. We are going to be going over our relations limit. Now we need to see if either Castile or Aragon desires some land from France. And we can click on show diplomatic feedback right here. We can see that Castile doesn't want French land and Aragon maybe wants some French land over here. They're not very interested in it, but they could be. So I'm just gonna send a royal marriage offer to Aragon and then I'm gonna ally them as well. And once one of these diplomats comes back, I'm also gonna ally the Pope. Next we're gonna set some rivals. Of course it's gonna be France, England, and you can pick one out of Provence or Savoy. In my case I am gonna pick Provence. Now we need to fulfill some missions. Firstly, placate subjects, where we need all of our subjects to have less than 1% liberty desire. So we're gonna go into our subject screen and I'm just gonna place these guys to siege anyway, and I'm gonna go into Brabant, support loyalists, Flanders, support loyalists, Holland, support loyalists, and boom, there we go, our mission is complete and we have a claim on the Lorraine area, which is right here. We also need to fulfill this mission and we will do that once our diplomats come back and we insult both France and England. Now we can just turn off support loyalists because we don't need it anymore. We completed the mission. And now we're gonna click on Nevers and seize land. We're gonna take Rethelois from them. It will increase their liberty desire, but we don't care. And there we go, we have Rethelois now, but we are going to be releasing the nation of Champagne from there. There we go. Now we have 2 vassals and 3 personal union subjects, so we're going to go into the nobility and give them strong duchies. As we can see, Champagne has cores on 4 provinces from France, which is excellent. By releasing them, we can reconquest those cores. We also get more diplo slots since we enabled strong duchies, and this level 2 fort turns into a level 3 fort, which is excellent. So now I'm going to wait for these diplomats to come back, ally the Pope, and insult France and England. We're also gonna hire advisors. I'm just gonna take this stab cost guy, this diplo rep guy, take a diplo rep or an improved relations guy, and take a morale or a discipline guy. I don't have one, so I'm gonna take the national manpower guy. We're also gonna build 4 infantry regiments. Now my diplomats are back. I'm gonna insult France, and I'm also gonna insult England. Now we can fulfill the mission English Alliance. And I'm also gonna ally the Pope. We're also going to take our 2 heavies and sell them to Holland for 50 ducats. And I also just allied Aragon, so we do have a nice triple alliance of us, Aragon, and Austria going here. Remember, we need to ally Austria and the Pope and one of Castile or Aragon, depending on which one wants land from France. In my case, that's probably Aragon, even though this isn't red. Now everything is set, and we need to wait for the war between France and England to start. So in the meantime, we're just gonna improve relations with our subjects, and with the other diplomat, we're gonna spy on England to get a claim in Calais or this province right here. Now in my case, the ruler of Savoy just got excommunicated, which means we can immediately declare on them. Now there's about a 50-50 chance of the Pope immediately excommunicating Provence or Savoy, and if that does happen, you will want to immediately declare war on them. Probably not Provence because they're allied to France, but Savoy for sure. So like in my case, I can declare on them and Austria won't defend them, which is excellent. Although I'm not gonna do that only for the purposes of this guide, because it may be unrealistic to get it every game. But if something like this does happen to you, you should declare on Savoy. One more thing we do want to do is enable scutage on Nevers. Now they're 100% disloyal because in my case England just supported their independence. It's really no big deal. We don't care about England at all. So I am gonna enable scutage on them. This means they won't be called into my wars, but that's a good thing because as you know they have a level 1 fort and they always get sieged down and ruin our war score. So we don't really want Nevers in our wars at all. Now, once we're able to get a claim on one of England's provinces, we're gonna recall both diplomats and start improving relations with France's subjects. So just find the ones you have the highest relations with already, like in my case Auvergne, so I'm gonna improve with them, and I'm gonna improve with Armagnac as well. This is because we need to fulfill the mission League of the Public Weal, where we need to have at least 3 subjects of France that have at least 100 opinion of us. Then all of France's subjects will get 50% Liberty Desire and we will get claims on some of their areas. So that's what we're gonna do right now. And in my case, the war just fired between France and England. Now, if England for some reason chooses to just give Maine to France, you're honestly better off restarting since it's only been about a year or 2 and we do want them to be in a war. So this is where the fun begins. It's time to let a month or 2 go by so France can move their armies, England can start doing stuff too, and what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be declaring a war on France. So once this happens, we're just gonna recruit a mercenary company. Yes, we are gonna go over the force limit. It's fine. I'm just gonna get these guys right here since they do have a 2 siege pip guy. And now a month or 2 have passed and it's time for us to declare on France. Now, depending on who you allied between Castile and Aragon, they might or might not join the war with France. Either way, France are beatable even without Castile or Aragon. And let's see in my case. So in my case, yeah, Aragon would join with the promise of land, but don't worry if they wouldn't, this war is still winnable. And I am gonna declare on France with a reconquest from our subject Champagne, let's just say for the core of Reims. And there we go. You might want to enable the defensive edict in your states during this time to make France sieging down your forts more difficult for them. Now I have enough war score against Provence to peace them out, and if you can't occupy as much as I did, just white peace them, but I am gonna make them end their alliance with France. That's it, just that. Now in my case, France did ally Scotland, which is kind of unfortunate, so I won't be able to get as much war score from them as I want, but it's just something we're gonna have to deal with if they do happen to ally Scotland, or someone else for that matter. You guys know that they don't usually ally strong nations. Something else that might happen in your case, which doesn't seem to be happening in mine, is because France will start getting involved with us, England should start landing troops at this point. In my case, they're still not landing any troops, but it probably will happen in your case. So they will be busy with both us and England in the mainland. And in my case, Scotland are being beaten by England, so I can white peace them right now, which is excellent. Like I said, in your case, they might not even be in the war. But once you have about 50% war score versus France, you can take everything that you're gonna need in this first war, which is gonna be the 4 cores that our subject of Champagne has, as well as money and war reps. Now in my case, I'm gonna keep going a little bit more just so I can beat them a little bit more. By the way, Aragon has done literally nothing this entire war. Like I said, you don't even need them. The only thing they did was occupy this fort right here, and then they just started walking around. AI is gonna do AI stuff, am I right? And I just pieced out France. Like I said, I took back all the cores that Champagne has, I took war reps, and I took the maximum amount of ducats that I could. So that's what you're gonna take in your first war as well. Now it's time to chill, keep improving relations with at least 3 subjects that France has to get them above 100, like I said, for the mission League of the Public Weal, and we're gonna get ready for our next war, which is most likely going to be against England, depending on the outcome of the French-English war that is still going on, by the way. So first we're gonna see who wins the war and what provinces are left over here in Normandy, and then we're gonna be deciding who to declare on. Well, here's something we don't see too often. Aragon paid off my debt. So now my starting ruler, Philippe, died, and I have Charles on the throne. Now, if this guy dies without an heir, then the Burgundian succession will happen. So that is something that you need to know. And now I also managed to get above 100 relations with 3 French subjects. And I can unlock the mission League of the Public Weal. Now this gives all of France's subjects plus 50 Liberty Desire, and we get permaclaims on Champagne and Orléans. Now yes, all vassals are disloyal, and we could support their independence, but we actually can't since we have a truce with France. And basically we need to own Paris and 3 more provinces in the French region, and then all of their subjects will become our subjects. But we can't really do that since we have a truce with France, and some might say it is better to take Paris in the first war, but I think it's too much aggressive expansion, so we'll see how it goes. But usually by the time we conquer Paris and 3 other provinces in France, they will have integrated most of these subjects, and it is a very strong mission on first glance, but it's very hard to make it work exactly the way it's supposed to work. And now the war between France and England just ended, and this is what France took. Of course, it's going to be different for everyone, but in my case, they took these provinces right here. Now, at this point, you're going to have to decide whether to declare on Provence or on England. It really is up to you, and it doesn't matter too much. I can see that in my case, England are in the War of the Roses right now. They just lost a war to France. They are going to be pretty weak, but they are allied to Portugal, which could make this war annoying. So in my case, I do think I am going to be declaring on England and just taking Calais and Cotentin right here. And I am going to call in the Pope. Why not? Maybe they will help me out against Portugal. For your tier 2 government reform, you should take strengthen noble privileges. And now I can peace out England. I do have about as much war score as I need. Now here's what we want to take in this war against England. Obviously we're going to take the province of Calais. It's great, high dev, center of trade too. But we also want to take at least one province over here, which we can release Normandy from, or a province down here which we can release Gascony from. Now don't make this mistake, you can't release Gascony from Laborde since the primary culture is Basque. You need to take Bordeaux from England if you want to release Gascony since their primary culture is Gascon. So Calais and either one up here or one down here or both. France will never take their cores back, they can't get enough war score to get all their cores back, so there will be a province available either up here or down here, or both like in my case. So I'm gonna take Calais, Cotentin, and Bordeaux. It is quite a bit of regressive expansion, but only France would join a coalition, and you do need 4 nations for a coalition to form. And now you will want to release the nations where you took provinces. In my case, I am gonna release both Normandy and Gascony. And trust me, Gascony is one of the best subjects in EU4. Look at all the cores they have. So that's our second war done. Now in your case, it could have been against Provence, like I said. Either way, aggressive expansion is pretty high right now since I took Bordeaux, so I'm gonna be chilling a bit before declaring on Provence. Of course, once 10 years pass, you are gonna wanna start annexing Nevers. And at this point, I'm also gonna give the bourgeoisie land of commerce. Now once we unlock Admin Tech 5, it's time to pick our first idea group, and we're gonna be taking Influence Ideas. You already know why. At this point I took out some loans, and now I'm building a few more lightships to protect trade in the English Channel, and I'm building marketplaces in the center of trade provinces in my own lands as well as my subjects' lands. And now our truce with France has finally run out. In my case, it's 1462 right now, and it's time for a second war against France where we're gonna absolutely decimate them once and for all. It doesn't matter who they're allied to at this point, or how many subjects they have. We are way more powerful than them. And I'm just gonna declare a reconquest using some of Gascony's claims. In your case, you can use Normandy or Gascony depending on who you have, or if you don't happen to have any of them, which is totally fine, you can just use one of your claims. And I am gonna call in Austria. For your first stage ability, you should of course take Justified Wars. And now that I've completely obliterated France in this second war, here's what we are gonna take in it. Most importantly, we're gonna take Paris. And then I'm just gonna make them give back some cores to Gascony, but only from them, not from their subjects. So just from France directly. I'm also gonna get war reps and some money. So in the second war, it's very important to take Paris. I didn't take back Normandy's cores because it would be way too much aggressive expansion. It is a lot as is. And there we go, we've expanded one of our subjects, and now it's time to core Paris before something very fun happens. And now that we've cored France, we can unlock the mission King of the Franks. Yep, we just got all of France's subjects for ourselves. There we go. Are we gonna have major problems with Diplo points? Absolutely. Are we gonna have major problems with Liberty Desire? Absolutely. Are we gonna have a ton of fun? Absolutely. Now it's time to chill and let aggressive expansion die down before we declare on Provence. Now, should I have given back all cores to Gascony in order to full annex Armagnac and Foix basically? In hindsight, yes, so you should do that in your campaign. If you have Gascony as a subject, basically give them all their cores back. Although in that case, we may not have been able to take Paris, since it does cost like 50 war score. So play around with that a bit. Now at this point, I did move my merchant from Bordeaux over to Rhineland to collect, but that's not what they're actually doing. I set them to establish communities so I can get that plus 15% improved relations with nations in those trade nodes. And now that about 2 years have passed since that war with France, and aggressive expansion is pretty low in the HRE. Remember, we don't care about what France and England and Brittany think. It's time to declare war on Provence. By the way, I didn't declare anything, I'm just helping out Austria. And of course I'm gonna let all my subjects do the work. And now that our first war with Provence is done, here's what we're gonna be taking. Basically, we're gonna be full annexing Lorraine, Now, it is quite a bit of aggressive expansion, and as we can see, a coalition might form from these 4 countries, but the most important thing is almost no one from the HRE would join that coalition, since we do have a very low AE with them right now. Now, the reason we're taking Lorraine in this war is because if we take these 2 provinces from Provence, which we do have claims on by the way, then Provence might be too weak and Lorraine might break free, and then they'll basically be a prince in the HRE, which would make it very difficult for us to attack them, at least in this point in the game. So that's why we're gonna be full annexing Lorraine, taking all of Provence's money, and getting war reps. So that's our first war against Provence. As you can see, we did get quite a bit of aggressive expansion. Basically, if we take 1 or 2 more provinces from anyone, a coalition might form. So now it's time to chill and focus on annexing our subjects, since by this time you should have already gotten the 3rd idea from Influence Ideas, where we get minus 25% Diplo annex cost. In my case, I'm gonna start annexing Champagne because I got them first and they're pretty big. I just need to improve a little bit more with them. By the way, in my case, Aragon did fall into a PU with Castile. As you guys know, I was allied to them, and I would ally Castile, but I am quite a few Diplo slots over the relations limit, and you will be too. So that's why I broke my alliance with the Pope earlier, and I'm not allying Castile yet, but I will probably ally them later when I'll annex a couple of my subjects. For your tier 3 government reform, I do recommend going with decentralized bureaucracy. This is because we will become an empire of French culture later, but we will be expanding into Italy and Germany as well, so we do need to promote some of these cultures, maybe even English too. Now during this time, what we are going to be doing is letting aggressive expansion die down, and we're going to start building a bunch of buildings. As you can see in my case, I've already built marketplaces in some of the center of trade provinces in my own lands, but in my subjects' lands as well. And I did start building workshops too in all the high value trade good provinces, such as Paris, Luxembourg. They produce paper and iron, and these 3 up here, Artois, Hainaut, and Namur, they're all high value trade goods. And I will be building more in Metz, Rethelois, and Lorraine, since they also produce nice trade goods. Even though it says we won't make a lot for them right now, this is because I haven't stated them yet, and autonomy is still pretty high on them. And we're basically waiting for our truce with France to run out. Now in my case it's 1474, Charles over here is still alive, but I do have an heir right here, Henry de Bourgogne, which means I probably won't get the Burgundian succession in my game. And it's honestly about a 50-50 chance of you getting it or not getting it. So I am gonna try and force the Burgundian succession to explain it for you guys. And there we go, Charles just died. I do still have the heir, but it has triggered, and this is the Burgundian succession. And we just got Marie on the throne, Marie de Bourgogne. Now let's see our options right here. First we have, come what may, Burgundy shall remain Burgundian. As we can see, it says this may lead to a war with France and the emperor may demand the lowlands. So if we choose this option, France can declare a restoration of union war against us, and the emperor, Austria, might demand for us to release all the nations which are in the lowlands region as independent nations in the empire. Both of those things may happen. France is pretty weak, so they might not declare, and we're pretty friendly with Austria, so they might not demand it. Then we have the von Habsburg prince will do nicely. Basically, we'll fall in a personal union under Austria and inherit all of our subjects. And the imperial antecedent, the Burgundian inheritance, will trigger. And then we have let us reintegrate with the French, where we once again annex all of our subjects and become a junior partner under France. Now, which one do you think is best based on this and based on this? And like I said, you may not get it. I was on my way to not getting it, but I purposely triggered it so I could explain it for you guys. I actually do recommend for us to become a junior partner under France, because we will instantly annex all of our subjects, and look at how weak France is, we can basically instantly defeat them in an independence war. Of course, this is my recommended choice based on this guide, and you could go with something else depending on how you want your game to go. Maybe you played Burgundy previously and you picked one of these events, so now you want to go with this. You can do whatever you want, but for the purposes of this guide, I am gonna go with what I think is the best option for us to become a junior partner under France. And there we go, we have instantly inherited all our subjects. We're a junior partner under France. Our liberty desire is 100 because we're way stronger than them. This is the best option in my opinion. Now we have some missions to fulfill, like Unite the Realm, which gives us some Diplo. Now in my case, I'm gonna wait for this war to end and my truce with France to run out so I can declare an independence war against them. And you should be doing the same if you have a truce with France, just wait for it to run out. This also triggers the Burgundian Inheritance Imperial Incident, where Austria can demand the lowlands, Austria can declare a restoration of Union CB on us, and they can do nothing. As we can see here, they will probably demand the lowlands. So once a year passes, let's see what happens. By the way, some of you may be wondering, okay, why did we take influence ideas if we could just instantly annex all our subject? Well, like I said, the Burgundian inheritance isn't guaranteed, so we still do need to go with influence ideas for our first idea group. We're gonna be getting more subjects too, so don't worry about that. And now I just got the event, the Duchess of Burgundy dies, and you may get this one too, and we automatically declare a war on France with the Independence CB. Now basically, because I get this event and I just automatically declared an independence war against France, I'm gonna get to pick a response to the Burgundian Inheritance Imperial Incident. But if you're still in a PU under France while this event finishes triggering and Austria picks this option, you need to know that the lowland countries will automatically pop out of you, because basically France will get to respond to Austria instead of you. So that means the nation of Holland, Flanders, Brabant, Hainaut, and Luxembourg will pop out of you. You will still have cores on them though, so that's the important thing you need to know. Either way, right now I am in an independence war against France, and it's time to beat them. By the way, the Imperial Incident is now over, and I guess in my case Austria chose to not do anything, because I still have great relations with them and I did royal marry them. If they ask you to release the lowlands, you can just say no. But like I said, if you're still in a PU under France when they ask for the lowlands back, and you probably will be, there is nothing you can do about it. But you will have cores on all the provinces which are in the lowlands region. It's still worth it to become a PU under France, even if they make you release the lowlands. Trust me. By the way, I did release Toulouse because they have cores on some French provinces right here. And there we go, I've beaten France enough to where I can get independence, maybe more than enough. But in this war, the only thing we're gonna get is independence. That's it. We don't want to get anything else because of crazy aggressive expansion, and this way we'll have a short truce for about 7 years, and after that we can give all our subject Toulouse right here their cores back, as well as take some more stuff. So just independence. And there we go, easy as pie. And it will be very easy for you even if you get the Duchess of Burgundy event, where you automatically declare war, or you can wait for your truce with France to be up and even get a couple of nations to support your independence. In my case, even the Mamluks would have supported me had I waited for the truce. But now that that war is done, I'm just gonna ally Austria again, because I do like being allied to them, and I'm also gonna ally Castile. And by around the 1480s, your game should look a little something like this. Basically, we own most of France. That's where we've expanded. And you may own this land directly if the Burgundian inheritance happened, or you may own it through your subjects if the Burgundian inheritance didn't happen. Like I said, in my case, it was on its way to not happening, but I purposefully triggered it so I can tell you guys about it. And that's how your game should look by now. Basically, we're number 2 on the Great Powers, and now I have allied Austria and Castile, as well as the Pope once again, since I do have diplomatic relations slots. I have Toulouse right here. I can use him to reconquer some cores, and you should be in a similar situation like me. After this point, you're gonna continue expanding and eating up all of France, then eating up Brittany, pushing down through Savoy to Italy, eating Milan, all of these nations over here, finishing off Provence, and basically when you have the entirety of France and parts of northern Italy, you can start pushing into the HRE. Now later you might get the incident where you can basically ask to join the HRE, and if you're in great terms with Austria, like in my case, they probably will allow you into the HRE. Now there are upsides and downsides to this. The upside is you can declare on all of these nations without having to fight Austria every single time. The downside is I'm already over governing capacity, and you will probably be over as well. Now when we enter the HRE, we will go down to a duchy rank, and we'll have only 200 governing capacity, which will give us some pretty bad malices. So those are the upsides and the downsides to joining, and you can weigh those options for yourself and decide if it's worth it to get into the HRE and conquer some provinces that you need over here. And basically your missions will guide you towards that. This left side of the missions will guide you towards conquering Italy, and this middle branch right here will take you into the HRE. This is the branch right here which pushes you into entering the HRE and even forming Lotharingia, one of the best nations in EU4 in my opinion. You also need to own Aachen, as we can see right here, and 25 provinces in some areas in Germany. Now Lotharingia isn't the only nation Burgundy can form. As we can see right here, we can also form the Netherlands and France. So if you're not going for the Lotharingia achievement, or if you've done it before, you can go for France or the Netherlands or Lotharingia. You can even form the HRE later if you become emperor. You can even form the Roman Empire. Lots and lots of choices with Burgundy. That's why it's so fun. There are so many different ways to play it. For your next idea group, you're going to take a mill idea like quality or offensive. For your third idea group, you should take an admin idea group such as economic if you're not blobbing too hard, and administrative if you're planning on blobbing really hard. And for your fourth idea group, you should once again take a mill idea group depending on which one you didn't take, quality or offensive. After that, it's your choice depending on what your plans for the game are. For your tier 4 government reform, you should take meritocratic recruitment. We do love that minus 10% advisor cost. For tier 5, you should take royal decree if you're blobbing, and general estates if you're not blobbing that much. For tier 6, you should take l'état c'est moi, and for tier 7, you should take political absolutism. Now later in the 1600s, you will get the disaster where the Netherlands can break free from you. Now I did do quite a bit of research, but I still couldn't find out the definitive answer if moving your capital to the Netherlands prevents that. But we're gonna be moving our capital to the Netherlands anyway, like in Amsterdam for example, because we do want the English Channel to be our main trade node, and we're gonna transfer from Bordeaux and Champagne over there. But like I said, I couldn't find a definitive answer if that prevents the revolt, so another way to prevent the Netherlands from revolting is converting all the Flemish and Dutch cultured provinces to Burgundian. That is a definite way to prevent it. And like I said, by around the 1480s, your game should look a little something like this. Burgundy does have two unique achievements, the Burgundian Conquest, where you need to own all of the lowlands and have France and Austria as your subjects. If you're going for that achievement, of course, you are gonna vassalize France when they become tiny, like 2 or 3 provinces, and basically later in the game, way later, when you start conquering in the HRE, you will be drilling down Austria too, and you will be making them your vassal as well. In my case, they're pretty strong. They have Hungary as a junior partner, and they're about to get Bohemia too. But when I got that achievement, I actually got Austria in a PU randomly. So you may have that luck as well. The second unique achievement Burgundy has is Mary of Lotharingia, where you need to start as Burgundy, form Lotharingia, and have a female ruler named Marie. Trust me, it's harder to get a female ruler than it is to form Lotharingia. Like I said, you form it through the missions. This mission, the Crown of Lothair right here, these are the requirements, and then you'll form it. But basically, once you do, if you're only going for that achievement, you're gonna want to keep disinheriting your heirs until you get a female ruler, and when you do, all you have to do is name them Marie. Now, if you're not sure if your game is gonna go like mine, or if you're not that confident in your abilities, this save file will be available to all YouTube members in the Save Games Discord channel, and you can continue playing from this date forward. Let me know in the comments below what's the next nation that you would like to see a guide on. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing, since only 12% of you are subscribed, and you can become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.